It doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your bank account, it doesn't matter how pretty you are. At the end of the day, either you're a nice person or you're not. Let's get into it. What up, y'all? I'm Christopher Markland, and welcome to my review/analysis for part 1 of the reunion special for season 6 of Ready to Love. Just like I've done all season, I don't necessarily go scene by scene, line for line for the show. Instead, I take the people, the scenarios, the events on the show, and talk about how they relate to relationships, dating, marriage, all of that good stuff. So if you like how I do it, please be sure to drop a comment below, like this video, and of course, subscribe to this channel.
This season, Ready to Love decided to take its talents to South Beach. Miami, y'all doing it big. Y'all doing it. I see what you said. We rounded up 20 of Miami's sexiest women and men who are ready to trade in the single life for a shot at love.
Not gonna lie, this season for me, it held a promise that this was gonna be something special compared to seasons past. It's set in Miami. I've been to Miami. I like Miami. I love the energy, the vibe of the city. But this season just wasn't necessarily able to tap into that in a way that would separate it from others. Anyway, I don't want to go too deep into that. I'm gonna give my final, whatever the hell you want to call it, after the end of the reunion special part 2. So just wanted to get that out there, but it was not bad, but...
What's up with the foot fetish? I'm
not the only one, though.
Yeah. Well, you was the #1 foot dude, though.
I mean, Justice, go save me on this one.
Wait.
Yeah, I like feet. I do.
So on the last episode of the CM show, even though the conversation was about trick or treat, we ended up, I guess in a way that is a treat, we ended up talking about fetishes, kinky behavior, kinks in general, and one of the things that came up was foot fetishes. I personally, that's not my thing, not my bag. However, everybody has that one thing that they like. They may not want to talk about it, but they all have that one thing. I gotta say I applaud Devin for talking about what his thing is. I'm not a big foot fetish person. I do like some nice manicured toes. You know, it's kind of cute to look at, but that's about as far as it goes for me.
I was trying to truly show the world who I was, and that's not for everybody. So I think going forward, the biggest thing that I try to emphasize was be truly who I am and really look out for the people who care about me. And whether that's my foot fetish or whether that's really just, trying to take care of the people around me, that's what I want to do going forward.
I'm a firm believer in that for any good, healthy relationship, the big 3 have got to be there: communication, finances, and sex. If you don't feel comfortable enough, or if you don't trust your partner enough to open up and share with them the things that you like, because like it or not, we all have that thing that we like. There's something that turns us on that may or may not be what the other person is into. However, you've got to, one, be able to feel comfortable enough to share what it is you like, and hope that your partner is open and honest enough with you to listen. It may not be their thing, but at least they're not going to be judgmental about it. If you don't trust your partner, if you don't have long-term trust, be it in trust enough to communicate with them, trust them enough to share the finances, and especially trust them enough with your sexual things, there's going to be problems in a relationship.
So what happened after the cameras quit rolling?
Just been a road that has had really big ups and really big downs.
Where are we now? Are we up or are we down?
We're working through things.
We're working through things.
Working through things. That's an interesting way of putting it. Now, if you look at that scene right there, what you have is Jamala and Randall sitting apart from each other. There's an emotional distance between the two. But on the seat, you see Jamala's purse. So there's actually something physical between them. There's a physical barrier where something is taking up the space where they couldn't get close to each other even if they really wanted to, because that barrier is there. I am not surprised where those two find themselves, because it's never a good thing for the woman to pursue the man. It's up to the man to pursue the woman, because at the end of the day, the one that's least interested in maintaining the relationship controls the relationship. And if that man isn't hunting, if that man isn't going after her, and if she isn't giving him enough bait, as it were, to keep him hunting, then sooner or later, what you see is what's going to happen.
So you guys are dating each other, but also dating other people. Is that safe to say that?
Sure.
Sure?
Yeah, it's not dating exclusively anymore, from what I hear.
From what you hear?
Not from what I know. Sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
This ain't really got nothing to do with nothing, but it looks to me like Jamala done lost some weight. I'm not sure. It's like her face looks a little bit more slim, but I don't know. Anyway, to me, it looks like Jamala and Randall agreed ahead of time to not say anything. I mean, Randall's a pretty low-key cat anyway. He's real quiet for the most part as far as sharing his business. At least that's how he's carried himself throughout the season. But even now, you see Randall giving one-word answers like Tommy asked him something. He's like, sure, instead of going into detail. Again, I hate that they are where they are, but I think most of us could have seen that coming.
What are you hearing?
Randall and I speak. Randall and I have an open communication.
So, how you feel about Randall currently, right now?
I care for Randall deeply.
Randall?
Same.
Same?
Again, another vague one-word answer from Randall. Now, I am a huge proponent of discretion in your relationship, keeping your business to yourself. I'm not a fan of social media and people posting every damn minute and second, an hour and day. Everything that goes on within their relationship it's not meant for consumption by everybody else out there. So I appreciate the fact that he's keeping their business to, himself and not giving too much information. On the flip side, though, you did sign up for a reality show about your dating life. So I get it. You don't have to go into all of the nitty gritty and give too many details. However, you gotta give us something.
I never said stripper, I said stage. We're in Miami. I mean, I don't know. Dominica is an exotic name. I didn't mean any harm. I didn't know her.
What other stage is it than the stripper stage?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what...
A stage, a performing stage, performing arts.
Charisse.
Yeah, so
I ain't buying
that's
that.
what
At the end of the day, most men want a nice woman. Looks fade over time, but who you are, your real character, that lasts forever. Now, no matter how big a smile you may try to plaster on your face, sooner or later, the real you is going to come to the surface no matter how many layers of makeup you try to put on top of your face. Now, we see right there that even though she's recorded, it's on video, we all see it in 4K, she still is trying to insult Dominica's intelligence as well as ours, the viewing audience, by saying that, oh, it was some performing arts stage bullshit. I mean, it is what it is. If she was to have just said, hey, you know what, I got caught up, I was drinking a little bit, come up with any other excuse, but say what it is that you said. But even in this moment, instead of her being able to own up to her bad behavior, she's still trying to come with some BS like we're, stupid. Be nice. It's not that hard. However, if you're not built that way, it's damn near impossible.
I mean, ultimately, if that's who Dominique is, why should she, transform or change? Like, I think that she is displaying her personality, and if we don't understand her personality,
That's
then
on us.
That's on us.
And likewise, if you don't understand my personality, that's on you too.
Well, really, your personality is fake as
Shit, well, let's get into it then. Well, you can tell Zoe has been holding that in. It's been locked and loaded since he left the show. What's it, episode 3, 4, 5? I don't know. He's been gone for so damn long, but he has been ready to let Charisse have it. Now, before we get too deep into that, I will say this. Have we seen Charisse apologize directly to Dominica? What I have seen her do is play the victim and say that, oh, nobody know, people misjudge her personality. Now all of a sudden she's just, oh Lord, it's me. Instead of just being, hey, you know what? I apologize for what I've done. If she has done it, hey, I stand corrected. Now, as far as Zoe, I gotta agree with him. Charisse does seem to be a little bit fake because even how she's coming across right now, she tends to either be the victim or she hides behind being a boss or being assertive and all of this other nonsense instead of just being like, yo, you're wrong. And she puts on the persona of being a nice person when in reality, we've seen the mean girl manifest itself time and time again.
She texts me, how are you doing? Why am I going to text you?
Because I'm not ignorant
I don't rock with you.
Right.
She's fake as I keep it 100, and that's what I'm going to do.
That's laughable.
You are laughable.
I am an aficionado of the fine arts, to include the great works of poetry. One poem in particular that has always resonated with me was written by one of the greatest poets in modern day history, and one of the lines in that poem was, "Real G's move in silence like lasagna." What he means by that is, if you are who you are, and if you do what you do, you ain't got to say it, because who you are will show it. I'm a writer myself, and one of the main things that you learn as a writer is you show, don't tell. I get it that Zoe moves a certain way and he's this and he's that, but if you have to tell people that you keep it 100 and you do this, seems like you're more trying to convince yourself that you move a certain way as opposed to the people around you. Because if you do what you do, you best believe that the people will see you doing what you do. You ain't got to say it, you just got to do it.
Cerise, have you said anything to Miss Dominica?
Absolutely. I phone called her right away. I think she has a beautiful personality. She has a gorgeous body. And so I did apologize to her on the phone, and I'll apologize now. My journey has been amazing. I've learned some things. I'm moving forward.
I'm glad that she actually did apologize, kinda. Anyway, I'm glad that she did. But it's one of those things where messy people continuously find themselves in messy situations or surrounded by other messy people. Throughout this entire season, we've seen Sharice getting into dust-ups and skirmishes with Kadian, with Randall, with Shakira, with Zoe, and it just seems to be time and time and time and time again. One time, all right, you can just chalk that up. Two, okay, but multiple times, sooner or later, you got to look at yourself and be like, yo, why am I attracting this much nonsense?
Or the dude that you probably drugged, your last boyfriend.
My God, shut
Let's talk
up
about
with your
him.
ugly
You was probably
beard.
fighting him, I'm assuming,
Whatever.
right?
What he said?
The dude
that what?
the whole thing that they pulled up in a balloon and
that
Zoe not playing.
And just like
The
your
dude that
girlfriend
you
that you had the
drugged,
whole
right?
time.
What's crazy to me is that they are the two oldest people on the show. They're in their late to mid 40s, and they are squabbling like two teenagers beefing on Snapchat somewhere. It's crazy. Now, in their professional lives, they're both successful. They're business owners and obviously doing quite well for themselves. However, this just shows that money isn't everything. Just because you may be having money in the bank doesn't mean that you've got character on the inside. And it shows right here. I don't understand two people of their age going back and forth with each other. And I especially don't get it from Zoe's perspective, because one thing that just ain't cute is for a man to be going back and forth with a woman. It just don't look right. At the end of the day, you got to be like, you know what? Hey, I'm out, and walk off. But instead, he's going back and forth. There's nothing to be gained from that.
I've been up front with you, and I don't want to lead you on anything like that or make you feel no type of way. You're not saying it's not a match for me, just not nothing I want to keep pursuing. With that being said, I no longer want to continue the process with you.
All right, it's not what I want to hear, but I'd rather the truth than a lie.
I thought it was odd that they didn't show Mike eliminating Kayla in the finale episode, but I appreciate them showing it now. As I'm watching this, I like how Mike gave Kayla the news in saying that, hey, I'm not going to be moving forward with you. Instead, I'm going to be moving forward with Brandy. And if you compare how he did it to how Randall did it, where Randall's just like, hey, I'm not moving forward with you. It's just real harsh how he did it. Whereas you can see that there was a little bit more compassion on Mike's behalf.
So you know you're the reason for that connection not going where it needed to go, because she kissed you. She kissed you, and Mike said at the getaway, if he...
Messy people always seem to find themselves in messy situations, and if there isn't any mess there, then what they'll do is they'll just create it. What you saw right there was Kadian turning around and provoking or pushing Zoe's buttons. Randall has had a front row seat to that behavior, because if you go back to the finale episode, he was right there as Swayze and Kadian were going back and forth, and he saw Kadian pushing Swayze's buttons. Now, in that situation right there, I feel where Randall is because he's sitting there watching that. You see the look on his face and he's like, yeah, this ain't gonna go good because there's nothing that he can do to check another man's woman. He can't say anything to Katie and be like, hey, why don't you stop her or pull her aside or whatever, because he sees the BS about to unfurl. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. There's nothing he could do about that. You can't control Zoe's reaction because Zoe's reaction is Zoe's reaction. Right or wrong, how he reacts to being provoked, that's him.
I love it. I'm always rooting for love. But I was surprised because he downplayed me so much and I thought me and Brandy had the same personality.
I actually agree with Dominica right here because for me, as I look at them on paper, they do seem to be the same type, the same personality. The only difference is that Brandy is a younger version of Dominica and she doesn't have kids. Outside of that, they both are loud, fun-loving, energetic women, and especially when the alcohol was flowing, they both were just, having fun. So I can see why she's saying that. However, at the end of the day, no matter what, Mike and every other man there it's up to him because, again, women control the WAP, men control the walk. So no matter how Dominica may feel about it, at the end of the day, it's Mike's decision to make as far as which woman he wants to choose to be with.
What you mean when you say people he dating now?
Yeah, he's dating someone now.
Who is that?
I don't want to call her name because we're being recorded, but she makes strawberries and her name starts with J.
Y'all, when I heard strawberries, my eyebrows shot up just like Kayla's did right there. I started thinking about it and I'm like, yo, the clues were there because, again, it didn't make much, the whole box thing just didn't make sense to me. It was too convoluted, but now that I'm listening to her, and she's talking about that he's dating somebody, some woman whose name starts with a J that does strawberries. I'm like, it makes sense. Y'all, let's replay this.
Mike, oh my gosh.
What's the answer?
It's a yes. When I pull out the drawer, it's chocolate covered strawberries, and the strawberries say it's a yes. I love chocolate covered strawberries.
If what she's saying is true, and if he did in fact use the show to promote the woman that he's seeing, dating, however you want to categorize it, to promote her business and her strawberries, that's a gangsta ass move right there. If y'all remember back in the day, LL Cool J, he had a contract to do a video or a commercial for Gap, the clothing company. So what he did on the show was my man had on a FUBU hat, and I won't say it was definitely a hat. And in his rhymes that he was doing for the commercial, this dude said, for us, by us, on the low.
For us, by us, on the low.
Basically, he used the Gap commercial to promote FUBU. And to this day, they say that was one of the most gangster guerrilla marketing schemes ever pulled off in the history of marketing. So if he being Mike actually did that and used the show to promote those strawberries in that box, because that he got DMs from people like, yo, dog, I want to do that for my wife or my girl or whatever. That's brilliant. If that is in fact what he did. Either way it goes, if it's true, absolutely hilarious. I tip my hat to him. FUBU hat.
Mike, are you dating somebody right now?
I'm not dating anybody.
Who's she talking about with these strawberries?
I don't know what she's talking about. Outside of this, that's irrelevant to me. Right now it's about Brandy. It's always gonna be about that. If I didn't want to pick you, I apologize. But what you want me to do?
I didn't want you to pick me. I didn't even know you for you to pick me. I didn't even know if I was gonna like you for you to pick me.
All we can do is take him at his word. And if he says that he's not dating anybody, then he's not dating anybody. I don't quite understand what Dominica is saying because at the end of the day, there are 9 other men besides Mike that had input as to whether she stayed or whether she left. If those men decided as collectively that, yo, Dominica's just not ready to love, you cannot lay the blame at Mike's feet. We saw that in different episodes, earlier episodes where Trinika got upset with Randall because he didn't fight to keep her on. And it's like, it's not up to me alone. There are other men who have input into the process as well. At the end of the day, Mike can make his decision as can the other men. And if they don't feel that she's someone that they want to pursue, that's what the show's about. Her journey's going to come to an end.
That was Swayze's fault for losing.
Nah, that ain't me.
Oh, if he would have kissed her, he would have.
If I was a little older, I would have won.
Now, what kind of sense does that make?
It does make a lot of sense.
No, it don't.
You mean?
What you mean?
You know what I'm saying?
What you talking about?
What I'm talking about. Give a about all that.
Come on, man.
Putting aside Katie and the fire starter, why did Zoe have to add Swayze's name into that conversation? Swayze didn't have a damn thing to do with Brandy and Kayla kissing. It had nothing to do with anything that Kadian was saying right there to Zoe. So I get it. At this point, Zoe's already made enough comments to where he feels the show is beneath him. He doesn't need the show. That's fine. That's his prerogative if he wants to leave. However, if you are going to be there, you cannot just throw a man's name into the mix and call him out and say whatever you want to and not expect that man to stand up and be like, hold up, bro, who the fuck, who you talking to? You can't do that. If you do that, there are going to be some consequences, and that's why that's why Swayze stood up right there.
Yes.
It's still early.
I love you, you good people. I mean no harm, but I'm out. I have business to take care of. This show does not make me.
No,
I'm Alonzo. I run a $35 million portfolio. I built that. This show doesn't make me money like that. Respect? Thank you.
What the hell does his portfolio have to do with anything? One thing I've learned is that men who lack tend to lead with the things that they have, be it their muscles, be it their car, or be it their money. What they do is they use the things that they do have to distract you from the things that they don't. Like I said earlier, that poet, real G's, yeah, be aware of the silent ones, not the ones that are talking the loudest because they're just trying to distract you. Now, one thing I will also say is this. Swayze has got to learn impulse control because unchecked anger is a dangerous thing, not just for him, but also for the people around him, because what happens is that those people, the loved ones that he has, usually tend to get hurt in the crossfire. Every man has got to have impulse control. Every man has got to have self-control. I'm not saying that you don't defend yourself and stand up for yourself. What I'm saying is you have to control how you do it.
Hey, I don't want to talk about this stuff, especially given the circumstances that Shakira, she would be a better person to talk about this situation, being, what she's went through. I never discussed the whole totality of the situation.
The point is that Kaden should not have brought that up in the first place. Just because she didn't go chapter and verse and tell everything that Shakira had shared in the ladies' lounge doesn't mean that Kaden is wrong. Think about what we saw earlier in this very episode. Even though Jamala and Randall didn't go into full detail in explaining their situation to Tommy, everybody, including Tommy, including us, the viewers, knew that there was more to it than they were actually saying. So for Kaden to bring up some of Shakira's information, now people are like, okay, what's going on? What's happening? That is an issue, and that is the point that Shakira is trying to make.
We all have a day of the week.
It's true.
On Tuesday.
On Monday.
Shakira, sister wives. We sister wives.
Oh, now y'all want to talk about polygamy. Oh, really?
So seriously, who here is dating LJ since the journey has ended? All right, two.
For the life of me, I just don't get LJ's appeal. But as a Jamaican man, I do understand to a certain extent. This dude has not one, not two, not three, but 4 women that he is juggling. Sir, I salute you, my man. Hey, you better do your stretches. Anyway, you know what? LJ has always been, I don't know. Y'all saw how y'all know how I feel about LJ throughout the season. Don't have an issue with him. I just feel that sometimes he can be a little bit passive aggressive and not necessarily as strong as he could be. However, if what he's doing is working, More power to you, bro.
That bitch is psychotic. I don't want that type of love.
And I'm not a bitch.
Yes,
no, but I am a bitch. Put
You
B.I.G. in
are.
front of it. I'm a
Girl,
big bitch.
I don't care.
And at the end of
Whatever
the
you wanna
day,
call
you did
it.
say what you said about your sugar
Just
daddy.
like, no, I did not. Just like you
End
didn't
of
remember the
discussion.
conversation.
That's how it was when I was there. That's how it was when I was there.
Yeah.
It's like,
And once again, Sharice and Kadian are going at it. It's like, whew, I'm glad. Anyway, we've come to the end of this episode, and we are almost at the end of the season. Looking at the previews for part 2 of this reunion special, it seems to be filled with just as much drama and the explosive stuff that we've gotten used to seeing in the last couple seasons reunion special. So I am looking forward to it. Kind of looking forward to this season being over too. But anyway, so speaking of next episodes, the next episode of the CM show is Scorpio season. We're going to be talking about those Scorpios. So if you've ever been in a relationship with a Scorpio, you're related to a Scorpio, been married, whatever the case may be, I want to hear from y'all because there's one, I know like 2 or 3 Scorpios. In fact, one's birthday is today, so happy birthday, man. Anyway, if you know, from what I've seen in the Scorpios that I do know, they are pretty low-key individuals. However, when they're provoked, that stinger does come out and they tend to come at you. So if that's been your experience with a Scorpio, I want to hear from y'all. As y'all see, I am still rocking the pink. In fact, a real close personal friend of mine, she actually is going through breast cancer treatments and kind of had a relapse. So this is something that is near and dear to me. It's not just performative, but I do have friends that are in different stages of breast cancer treatment. So if you know someone, or to my female, well, male and female people that are watching, please get yourself tested, not just for breast cancer, but especially for my dudes over 40. Y'all make sure that you get yourself checked out. I get it, you know, the doctor's going to be poking and prodding. However, fellas, please, especially if you're in your 40s, you're over 40, get yourself checked out for colon cancer. And for my ladies, please do those self-exams. Go get yourselves checked, please. Anyway, so if you have not followed me on social media, please make sure you follow me on Twitter at author_Chris M. You can also follow me on Instagram at Christopher_Markland, or you can follow me on Facebook at author Christopher Markland. So what do y'all think of this episode? Do you agree with Zoe and his antics and how he handled things? Do you think that Sharice is in fact fake? What about Swayze? How do you feel about how he went at Zoe? Do you think he could have went at that a little bit differently? And who else was there? It's been, oh yeah, Dominica. Do you agree with how she came at Mike? And what do you think about the strawberries? Am I off base on that one? Or y'all let me know. Hey, I appreciate y'all watching. As always, see y'all next week. Y'all stay determined.